Orion Now. I'm your host, Kelly McKay, here with Township Supervisor Chris Barnett and his daughter, Addison. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing good today. I brought my partner with me today. She's checking out what her dad does, so I got her along for the ride. So we thought we'd let her sit in, and maybe she has some questions for me today too.
Yeah, very cool. Chime in whenever. So tell us about what's new in the township.
Well, there is so much going on. Last Wednesday, we had my first State of the Township address, and the theme was grow here in Orion Township. And I was hoping that I would not get skunked. I thought my family would be in the room and maybe a couple township employees because they felt like they had to be, and I was really hoping for a decent turnout. And the turnout was overwhelming. I heard we had around 200 or so people show up from people that are community stakeholders in our community, but also people from other parts of Oakland County, realtors, business owners, people just interested in what we have going on here. So it was an overwhelming success. I had a couple little technical issues with my Prezi, but the feedback was great, and the news, in my opinion, was even better. We have so many incredible things happening in our community. I highlighted a few of them. The number of housing starts we're projecting here in our community is going to be off the charts, literally, from where we've been the last few years, as well as some of the business retention and business attraction. I'm really focusing on a couple areas of business, and one of those that I'm going to really start working on, you'll hear a lot more about soon, is the M24 corridor, the south end of our town, from basically Dutton Road to just north of Silverbell Road. We're working on what we call an overlay district that will allow, most of that property is currently zoned industrial, and we're looking at other mixed uses besides industrial, including industrial, but other uses. And for example, we already have Palazzo de Bocce, which is a restaurant and a bocce ball court. We have Kensington Church, which just recently opened.
Oh, yeah.
So we already have some mixed uses there. So part of the overlay district would allow us to allow other uses, but at the same time require some design standards. And that's one of the other aspects that I'm really interested in, to really sort of ramp up the aesthetics of that area when you come into town, from looking less industrial and more welcoming and more cleaned up and more architectural design that kind of really, in my opinion, reflects who we are as a community. So that's a long answer, but there's a lot of exciting stuff happening in town.
Well, that's good. That's good. So, I mean, you're fairly new to this position, right?
Right. Yes. So I think I'm into my 4th month now.
Okay.
And still loving it. Still having a blast. I can tell I'm still. I think I'm still being effective because I'm still thoroughly irritating a lot of the staff. We're having a lot of fun, but I am just challenging people to really think outside the box in everything that we do. I think I might have said here before that one of the most common statements I heard my first month or two was when I'd ask questions of why do we do certain things a certain way? Well, we've always done it that way. And so I've kind of nixed that as that's not an acceptable answer anymore. And again, like I said, I think probably 90% of the people are enjoying the change and the freshness of ideas. There's still that 10% that think I'm crazy and I'll be gone soon enough, and they'll go back to their ways. But that's okay.
Right, but that's good that you're bringing a new viewpoint in.
Right, and I think that I heard loud and clear. I campaigned for this. I knocked on a lot of doors for this job, and which is one of the unique things about this job. People voted me in, and that's one of the things I heard loud and clear. Is we want fresh ideas, and so I'm really that's something I'm following up on, and so far so good. So more of that to come, hopefully.
Yeah, very cool. So Addison, what's it like having your dad as a township supervisor?
I like it, but I think it's fun to go to work with him, and it was fun going knocking on doors with him and going walking, because I got to take my friends with me, and it was fun.
I had a lot of help.
Oh,
Addison brought a crew of friends with her. Usually we knocked on a lot of doors. We were in every neighborhood in Orion Township last summer, and it was a hot summer. And Addison was usually, I have 3 daughters, Rachel, Sydney, and Addison. Addison's my youngest and my favorite. And she always had a crew of girls that usually would come help in exchange for a Frosty or a Slurpee afterwards. But yeah, what was that like? What was it like knocking on doors?
It was fun, but like whenever I took my friends with me, they would always like make me talk because they were always afraid of talking.
So did you know everything you had to say?
Yeah.
Like, what did they ask you? What kind of questions?
Well, they didn't really like ask me any questions. They just asked like they didn't really ask any questions. They're just like, cause I would say like we're out walking for like my dad, Chris Barnett, and he's running for Orion Township Supervisor, and then we just said like to go vote on like, I don't remember the day, but it was August something.
Very cool.
This is how I won. Come on. Who's
Yeah.
going to say no to this? I got we would walk together. They'd be on one side of the street and I'd be on the other. And I got lots of doors shut on me. And everybody's offering them water and, you know, oh, you guys are so sweet. So I don't want to give out all my secrets, but that was probably a big reason that the results came in the way they did.
Wow. So when people hear that you're a Barnett, do they automatically know who your dad is?
Sometimes, sometimes, one time I went to my dad's ceremony, like when he got sworn in, and my teacher like asked me why I was all dressed up, and I said I was going to my dad's ceremony, and she's like, oh yeah, I never really connected the dots that like he was your dad.
Yeah, so it's really cool, isn't it? Yeah.
And why are you here with me today?
Because I came to work with you.
Yeah, so I picked her up today after lunch, and I love the fact that they're interested, and that's one of the other things that, not to turn this into like a political thing, but you know, one of the things I talked a lot about last summer, and even since I've been in office, is really getting the younger people in our community more involved in our community, and not just at the school level, but what is our local government up to, and what are they doing, and what really is the direction of the community, because hopefully a lot of these young people will choose to raise their families here. So, so to that end, we're in the process of starting a youth council. I think it's the first ever youth council in Orion Township, so that's getting off the ground, and it's great to have daughters that are interested in what their dad does, and she's a great help. She's helped me tonight. We have a board meeting, and she's helped me getting ready for my big board meeting tonight. So,
very cool. You go.
Yeah, it's great.
You go, girl.
Thank you, Kelly, for chatting with us and asking me the tough questions. That wraps this segment of Orion Now. Please stay tuned for our next segment where we will welcome Village Manager Paul Zelenak.
Hi, my name is Ed Ratzenberger. The Orion Center has a Seniors Advisory Council. It is a group of 12 people who volunteer to help the Orion Center staff with their efforts to provide the programs and services of the Orion Center for the seniors of our community. The center would like your assistance in order to help determine the activities and services that seniors prefer. The center is a comfortable and enjoyable place for you to visit, to meet with your friends, and to make new friends. You're welcome to provide your suggestions for activities and services, for your general observations, for your complaints, and for your positive comments. If you would like to give your thoughts to the Advisory Council, please stop by the Orion Center and deposit your comments in one of the boxes that the Advisory Council has made available. If you want to include your contact information, we will respond to you within a few days. Or if you prefer, we also welcome and value anonymous comments. All contributions will be discussed. We hope you will respond, and we thank you in advance for your help. It is a pleasant place to enjoy and does not cost a penny to be a member. Membership in the seniors group is free. Thank you for your time. We look forward to hearing from you and to meeting you. Take care.
Welcome back to Orion Now. It's my pleasure now to invite our guest today, Paul Zelenak, our Village Manager, to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate that.
Looking forward to grilling you as much as I possibly can. No, I have had the pleasure to get to know you now that we're working together as colleagues in neighboring communities, or sister communities, if you will. What would we call that officially anyway?
I guess we could be sister communities, or brother and sister being the village and the township.
Now, who's the brother?
So you can choose that one.
Anyway, so thanks for joining us. Most of us know that you're moving on to other pastures, and I just want to say, first off, we're going to miss you. I know I personally will miss you, and I appreciate everything you've given and done for our village and for the township as well. You've been great to work with, so I just want to thank you for what you've done, and I'm sad to see you go, but I know you'll do great things in Linden. You're moving up to Linden, so this is about as serious as we're going to get, but I want to get the seriousness out of the way, and thank you for what you've done. So tell me a little bit about that, and you know, I'm sure it's bittersweet for you.
It is. You know, I've worked for the village for the past 5 years. I started in 2008, and I'll just be finishing my 5th year here at the village when I do leave. My last day is actually April 10th. I had a great opportunity to work with a lot of good people within the community, and as I mentioned just recently, I didn't know that I worked with 4 township supervisors over that time frame with basic changes that have occurred in elections, but I've really enjoyed it. People in Lake Orion have been great. It's a really family-oriented community. I've enjoyed working with the schools, working with the libraries, working especially with the township. And just recently we have really tried to collaborate even more, and I think that's really going to benefit both communities as well as all the residents in the future.
I agree. You started a lot of great things that we plan on continuing. You touched on collaboration. Talk a little bit about that, about what we're trying to do, and I know you've really spearheaded those efforts, and we're going to continue that after you leave, but the collaboration specifically.
Well, you know, the Village of Lake Orion, you know, we're so alike in the township and village operations. We're all a part of the community as a whole. I think sometimes we don't look at it that way. You know, some people say, well, Orion Township, we're Village of Lake Orion, or it's the Orion Library, but it's Lake Orion Schools. We all are really Lake Orion. And some of the things that which we've talked about recently is collaborating with not only use of employees within the future, but also sharing services, looking at contracts, and we've even started to discuss some things with our neighbors to the north, North Orion, and Oxford Village, and as well as Oxford Township. And I think that's really going to end up saving a lot of money for the residents of the community. It's going to show how well we work together and how we have worked together within the past, because we really are one community. And that's really one of the things that I noticed when I started working in Orion, how everybody was really cohesive and how this is such a great volunteer town, from all the service organizations to the events that happen in the community, from the Lake Orion Lighted Parade to the fireworks to the flower fair to the growing green, all of those things, everybody really comes together, and it's really just for the betterment of the community.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more, and that's big. I'm very passionate about presenting our community as Lake Orion, not the village, not the township, but really we're Lake Orion. So, and I know you've really been a big part of behind that. I'm copying you a little bit, so hope you don't mind that.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think a lot of people are realizing that. When they know we're really Lake Orion. They know that there's a village in the downtown which encompasses most of the downtown, but the Orion Township, the vast park system that you have within the community, and the other amenities in which we offer. That now we're working together on, and I think it's going to be a much better community. I mean, just recently the downtown streetscape project, will hopefully bring in more people to the downtown. The recent work that you've done, as well as other township supervisors, to try to bring more business to the Orion community has really been important. Expanding the industrial and commercial base really makes the residents want to move here. And with the new developments of the new residential that's coming in the area, people are going to look, and everybody's going to benefit by this.
Right. We announced last week at our State of the Township that there are 747, you touched on it, but new residential units. Now that encompasses some apartments, but mostly residential homes, which is really going to not just boost our township, but really help the village hopefully as well. So that's something I'm really excited about. We've put a lot of effort into recruiting and really rolling out the red carpet. I think it's important, like you said, because a strong township only will help our village, and if we get 700 plus more residences in our community, it's only going to hopefully drive business and more people to the village. So I look at it as a real cooperative effort to really promote, and we're using the village to, and these builders are using the village to attract people to their neighborhoods. So.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of interest with new businesses wanting to come in the village. We do have several vacancies that have occurred over the last few years. We do have a lot of interest. Matter of fact, right now we're in discussions with taking down the old whiskey buildings within the downtown and making that a new parking lot that'll bring additional added parking spaces that's really needed within the downtown. We do have a lot of conversations with residents and people coming in. They tell us, hey, we need more parking. We need something closer to the businesses in downtown. With the added 51 North Brewery that came into the town within the past 6 months, That's been great for the village. It's bringing more nightlife into the downtown. We see more people walking around the downtown. Simply Marcella's recently, coming into the village has really been a great addition. And we look to fill up the old Little Monsters building, the old Elements building, as well as a future development within the Sagebrush building within the upstairs. We know will attract people to the area. And as you mentioned, the 747 units, I'm not sure if that's really a plane, the 747, but we're bringing in a lot of people, and I think it's going to continue to happen. And this is a desirable place. People come into town, they see the lake, they want to know how they can get involved in activities. Last year, it really was the biggest Dragon on the Lake event that we ever had, the thousands of people that come in town. People want to come into town. They look at the schools, they look at the safety of the community, they look at the events, and now they're looking at the great housing stock that you're bringing into the community. Everybody's going to benefit.
Right. Now tell me about, what's this Sagebrush place? I've never heard of that. It's in the village?
Yeah, some people do frequent a Mexican restaurant in town, and it is a big draw. And people, you tell them where you live and you tell them where you work, and is that anywhere near Sagebrush? Yes, it is. It's where Sagebrush, and that's not one of the only things that that the village has to offer. There's a lot of businesses in the historic downtown, and that's another thing that's really improving the community is the people preserving the 100-plus-year-old homes in the downtown, and that's just, it's so nice to see that. And over the last several years, we've really expanded, as you know, being on the DDA board, the Main Street approach, which brings design, organization, promotion, and economic restructuring into the downtown with the emphasis on historic preservation that really helps drive events, drives community to come into downtown. And we really think we have that happening in the downtown, and they're going to continue to see upgraded events as well as improved events within the community.
That's great, and that's one of the reasons I'm kind of sad to see you go, because I think you've had a large part in getting a lot of these things going. And you did touch on something I think I'm pretty passionate about too, is I hear a lot of my friends and neighbors say, how come Oxford has so many more restaurants and things like that? And I don't want this to be negative, but it is true. I think that you touched on a couple things already. One of them has to do with parking. You mentioned that a lot of people might not know yet, but talk a little bit about the village's pursuit for more additional parking, and in turn, what that might bring to the village once that parking is available.
Well, I think I talked briefly on the taking down the old Whiskey's building in the downtown, and that actually property is being donated to the DDA or to the village, and we'll be developing, I think it's about 40 parking spaces. We think that particular location of parking will help the expansion of the Sagebrush building, will help the future expansion of the old Wagon Wheel building as well. People come to downtown, they need to see visible parking.
Right.
A lot of people are unaware of the 75 or 70 spaces that are down in Children's Park. And so people may not want to walk down that way, even though it's very lit. But I think we'll try to improve on some of those things within the future too, by additional signage so people can be directed to the downtown. And a lot of people do look at Oxford and they say, how can they have so many businesses within the downtown? Well, I think one of the differences between Oxford and Lake Orion is the numerous corridors that Lake Orion has, because you have Baldwin, you have Joslyn, and you have 24. Mostly in Oxford, it's really just that 24 corridor where the predominant location of all their businesses are. Right. And we have several locations. I mean, you go to the different major streets and you see that there is commercial development, there's industrial development, there's restaurants, there's bars. They're scattered throughout the whole town because our population is scattered throughout that whole 36 square miles.
Okay, cool. So, all right, we talked a little bit about what you've done, and you're doing a great job because you're really leading the discussion and making my job easy. Well, I want to talk to you.
I'm just reading the cue cards over there, so I'm going down in line now, so I'm just about to finish.
Good. All right, so let's change it up a little bit. So, you've been here, is it 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years.
5 years, okay. Tell me about, well, a little known fact that I know, and I don't know if a lot of people know, is when I heard you were leaving originally, I thought you were going to leave to chase your passion, which is wine. Am I right there?
That's not wine drinking, but actually wine making.
Wine making. So tell me a little bit about how in the world did you get involved in wine making?
Actually, I started about 15 years ago. I used to live in Rochester Hills and lived on a 5-acre parcel there. And one year took a trip to Napa Valley, and I have drank wine over the years, and I knew a little bit about cultivating certain grapes and things like that. But I really got involved after that. It just became a passion for me. I started planting wine grapes. I knew a lot of friends that growing up that their parents or grandparents used to make wine, and they used to make it in the backyard with the old Concord grapes and add a ton of sugar, and they wondered why all their family members had headaches later on in the evening. I use actual wine grapes, so it is a little bit different. And then in the last 8 years ago, I moved out to Clarkston. I started planting wine grapes there. I know the Clarkston Wolves against the Lake Orion Dragons. So I started planting wine grapes there. And I've been doing that for 15 years, developed my own logo for Zelenak Vineyards, and it's been a lot of fun. It is my passion. Yeah, I guess that would be something if you had that dream job that you always wanted to have.
Right.
That would be something, I guess that would be part-time, because they say when you take a job like that, it may become a little bit more of a burden.
Right.
But I do enjoy that, and I do just enjoy giving it away to friends and family.
And I have sampled it. It's pretty good.
I wasn't at any wine tastings or anything like that within the community. I don't want any alcohol ATF agents knocking on my door or anything like that, because I'm not allowed to sell it, but I am obviously allowed to give it away to friends.
Right. I did not buy it, so just in case any ATF agents are watching.
That's right.
Okay, so all right. So one of the other things people know you by in the community, or maybe they don't know, but now maybe you can take off the mask and officially let the. Are we able to do this?
Sure, I guess we can.
Okay. All right. Well, a little known fact about Mr. Zelenak is he also plays Elmo.
That's correct. I actually got started, I've done that since I started working in Lake Orion. But prior to that, when I was working in Garden City, I was on a parade committee, and they had a couple costumes that weren't filled during the parade. And I went down to the location to say, okay, what do you have left? They said that they need help. Oh, we need an Elmo, and we need, I think, SpongeBob. And I decided to select Elmo because I know kids like Elmo. So I, got a little preview on what I'm allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. First year that I did, it was probably 25 degrees for their holiday parade. And it was so cold, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be freezing out there in this Elmo costume. I had long pants on, a t-shirt, sweatshirts, extra thermal shirts. And I'm actually getting ready in the truck with Rory from the Lions. And he's telling me, he goes, this is your first parade, isn't it? I said, yeah, how can you tell? He goes, because you're going to sweat. I thought, are you kidding me? It's 20 degrees outside. The wind is blowing. I'm going to be freezing. He goes, oh, no, you're not, because he was just wearing shorts and a t-shirt. When I got done, I was completely drenched. But I tell you, by doing that, the first time that I did that, walking down the streets, watching how the reaction of all the kids in the community, I came upon some individuals that were mentally and physically impaired. It was such a moving moment to watch them, the sounds and the jumping around and the things that they were saying to me when I came up to them. It really took me by surprise, and thank God I had that mask on, because I would have lost it right there. But the letters that I got from some of the family members after that, thanking me for stopping there and talking with them and sitting with them and taking pictures with them, said, this is a lot of fun. I'd like to continue to do this, and I've really enjoyed doing it the last several years. And actually, I've talked to the parade group, and actually one of the members contacted me and said, would you continue to do this? And it was quite the compliment. And because of that, I think this past year, just a few weeks ago, I was actually asked to be the Easter Bunny at the Orion Center for the event that they had for their Easter egg hunt. I think that had to do with a little trade-off we had, because we've got your publication that goes out every year. We asked to put something in the publication, and they said, well, can you do us a favor? I said, sure, what do you need? He goes, can you be an Easter Bunny? And I said, okay. So it was basically 2 hours sitting in the warm suit with a whole bunch of kids that had a great time.
That's really cool.
It was a lot of fun.
So tell me, funny stuff has to happen. You must hear funny things. Anything come to mind, something funny while you're in costume as Elmo?
Well, probably one of the biggest things, it's funny when you're walking up to kids, some of the kids are really excited about Elmo. I guess if there's any costume character that's coming up during the Christmas parade, I mean, what I noticed that Elmo is a rock star. Elmo is even more popular than Santa Claus at Christmas time, because the kids from anywhere from 1 year old to 20 years old, even adults know. But the funny times of what happened, I'll be walking up and you'll hear one of the fathers say, "Oh, look, here comes Oscar the Grouch," and then the mother will be nodding their head, "No, honey, I'm sorry, that's Elmo." "Oh, yeah, that's who it is. That's who it is, Elmo." So that's fun. But the kids that come up to you, they're great. They just want to hug you. People ask you if you can hold them, and it's really difficult for me to do that in the costume, but it is a lot of fun.
Awesome. Darn, so you're coming. I was thinking I had a new gig. I was thinking
I'm sure you could probably arrange something. You're going to have a little bit more pull in town after I leave.
don't know.
I'm sure you may actually have more pull in town right now, but I
don't know about that.
But I know they need other costume characters. So
right.
Lloyd and Kathy Coe at Ed's Costume Gift does a great
Right.
job in providing those costumes for the parade.
Yeah.
And that's very unique in a lot of parades to have that many costume characters. As everybody knows, the largest lighted parade that we have in Lake Orion, and it's just
In the
fantastic.
state, largest lighted parade in the state.
And it's fantastic how the people come out for that, and whether it's rain or snow or whatever it may be.
And there's been some not so pleasant weather years, and people still show. So.
And we keep getting calls. Somebody will call us, the day of the parade. Are you sure you're going to get that snow plowed? Trust me, I'm going to make sure I get it plowed because I don't want to be walking in the snow with the Elmo shoes on. So.
All right. So tell me about what's your maybe one or two of the best memories you have being village manager in Lake Orion. Is there anything that comes to mind? Funny stories, things that you really felt like are your legacy here. And I know there's a lot, but if you had to boil it down to a couple, what would you pick?
It's difficult to say one or two things. I'm pretty proud of what we've accomplished over the last several years, especially within the difficult financial times the state has had. I talk to other managers from around the state, wonder how people can still continue to do things when 20 years ago managers seemed to have it a lot easier. Proposal A wasn't around. You were having the property tax increases, the revenues that were coming to the schools and the municipalities. Those were good times. You could provide a lot. Then we had to rework things and provide more or provide the same with a lot less people, and that was really difficult. I'm real happy how everything happened within the streetscape project. We worked with the DDA on that to really make that happen. The lot of dollars that we got donated through the state of Michigan and the other grants that we had was fantastic. When you look at little things, we talk about that Memorial Day parade within the downtown. One of the things I brought here and I feel very proud of, even though it's something very small, but to me it means a lot, was bringing the military flyover that we had. When I worked in Ortonville, I brought that over there, and I had a lot of experience working with other people who told me how to make that happen, and filling out the Department of Defense forms, going through Selfridge Air Force Base, going through Battle Creek, talking to Willow Run, filling things back and forth. But when you get those two jets that are flying over during the Memorial Parade, it puts a lump in your throat.
It's
and
pretty amazing.
And it's just one small thing, but it's it's something that I hope we can continue. Cutbacks occurred at the Pentagon, but hopefully it'll happen again.
It would have been better if you could have got them to drop something in the lake, some live ammunition. That'd be a little more flavor, but
it is funny because I'll tell people when it's going to happen, and usually the week before I'll get the call from the individual who's in charge over at Selfridge Air Force Base, and they'll tell me the exact time that they're coming by because they got 13 other stops throughout the state of Michigan, and we will be there at 10:17 and 30 seconds, and I'm looking at my watch and it's right on time. So
that's pretty cool.
But it's a great community to work in, and I tell everybody, I said, I am leaving. I'm looking forward to the opportunities that are going to take place in Linden, but I know they're going to get another manager in here that will have a lot of great ideas. We'll have a lot of new ideas, and we'll have a different expertise. And I think that's what you really need. You do need the change that does occur over a certain period of time. I realize when somebody's in a position for a lot of years, you can get a lot of added benefit by having the past knowledge of the community and try to be able to move it forward. But it's nice to get somebody new in here, and I'm sure the next person that they're going to get in, and they're already starting that process.
Right.
And hopefully by the 1st of June or 1st of July that they'll have somebody in and be able to work with you on a lot of great activities and initiatives that you're starting.
Right. Well, again, it's going to be a challenge. So you're leaving a pretty big opening, pretty big gap because of all the great things you've done. And I can tell you I've enjoyed working with you. It's only been a short time. You've done a lot of great things for this community. I'm sure you're going to do some great things in Linden, and hopefully we'll find someone. And I agree. I think it's good. Change is good. I think it's good to have new perspective from time to time. I'm definitely rocking the boat a little bit and causing people to look at things differently, and I think that's good. So hopefully we'll find someone that wants to push us forward like you have.
And what I can say is I really appreciate what everybody's given me within the past several years. They've really given me a lot of support. At times it's very difficult, but that's part of the job. I got in government, just like I've talked to you about in the past, because I wanted to make a difference. I saw certain things in government that I didn't feel that were operating right when I was younger, when I was getting my education. I was lucky to have a mother who was Republican and a father who was Democrat, so I always got two different viewpoints every single day at the table. But I think that really helped me mold me into who I am. And they always volunteered, and I guess that maybe steered me in a direction as well. And I look forward to seeing how the community is going to grow in the future, as well as seeing some of the activities and things that you're starting.
Well, thank you for coming in. Thanks for the visit. Best of luck on your new adventure in Linden. We'll be keeping tabs on you here.
Thank you.
And we'll definitely miss you. So thanks for everything you've done, and good luck to you in the future.
Thank you very
Yep,
much.
thanks, Paul. And thanks again for tuning in to Orion Now, our third episode. Look forward to continuing to provide you with some pertinent updates and some exciting things happening around town. Until next time, thanks so much.